We are truly privileged tonight. We are eyewitnesses to history. Who on either side of the Berlin Wall or in this country would have believed this morning that this day would end the way it has? End with the very symbol of the division of Europe, of the division of the free world and that which is not free, disappearing or at least becoming irrelevant. East Germans may now leave their country and cross directly into West Germany, even through the Berlin Wall itself.
April 1945, Soviet troops reach Berlin. June 17th, 1945, the Potsdam Conference begins. Berlin is divided into 4 occupation zones. 1948, the Berliner blockade begins. Soviets make West Berlin an isolated city. 1949, West Germany becomes a democratic republic while East Germany becomes a communist government. In an attempt to halt the migration of East Germans to the West, the Berlin Wall is erected. 1963. President John F. Kennedy delivers his reowned Berlin speech, stating,
Ich bin ein Berliner.
1987. President Ronald Reagan demands,
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
How did this Cold War stalemate come to an end? There were many proverbial dominoes that over time brought down the Berlin Wall. And one of those turning points has been forgotten. Bruce Springsteen's historic concert in East Berlin on July 19, 1988 was a significant catalyst in fueling cultural and societal rebellion, contributing to the collapse of the Berlin Wall. It stands as one of the several turning points that toppled a government, ended the Cold War, and transformed the global landscape.
Life behind the Iron Curtain was difficult. The communist government was controlling, which led to shortages of food and goods. Then there was the Stasi, or German secret police.
Dr. Hubertus Knabe, director of the Memorial and Museum of the Stasi Secret Police Prison, said,
The Stasi also shadowed tens of thousands of people, using specially trained agents and secret cameras to document every step one took.
The GDR, German Democratic Republic, controlled nearly everything, including what people listened to. This frustrated the East German youth. While they were not allowed to listen to unapproved Western music, there were ways for them to find it.
To ease the growing unrest, the government agreed to allow a world rock and roll star to play in East Berlin.
On the day of the concert, excitement and rebellion were in the air, which is not unusual for a rock and roll concert. But this is no typical concert, because it was in communist Germany. According to an East German dictionary, rock and roll originated in the USA and is an exaggerated form of boogie. It seduces young people to excess. The definition goes on to state that, in West Germany, it serves as an instrument for psychological warfare that distracts young people from political issues. In other words, rock and roll concerts were considered immoral and dangerous.
On this day in East Germany, people were disrespecting the government and breaking the standard rules. One reporter wrote that people were amazed at seeing security gates trampled. It was something they had never seen before in East Germany and wouldn't see again until November 9, 1989, when the Berlin Wall itself was broken under similar pressure, determined to break through the barrier. Imke Handke, a 23-year-old lab assistant, told a reporter,
The fence got knocked down, and everyone just flooded in. It was all so amazing. You never saw anything like that happen in East Germany.
An East German newspaper reported that it was not only the biggest concert in East German history, but it caused one of the worst traffic jams. One report stated that people abandoned their government-issued cars on the side of the road. To emphasize the passion people had to hear Springsteen's music, it's important to know that people had to wait more than 10 years to have the opportunity to receive a government-issued car. What's interesting is that the official Stasi records from that day claim that the show was peaceful, and the young people were obedient.
At 6 p.m., the crowds are still filing into the rock concert area according to plan and without incident, aside from the occasional small jam of people. Based on current estimates, the number of people inside is about 70,000.
The reality is that more than 300,000 attended. People were so eager to experience the musician's powerful message, free from the threat of persecution, that they were willing to trample fences and even abandon their cars to be a part of it. When the concert finally began, Springsteen opened with Badlands, a tough, driving tune whose lyrics portray a feeling of hardship and conflict. The narrator finds himself in a tough situation, unsure of how to break free. However, even amid the chaos, he stands defiant and determined. The chorus echoes this sentiment.
Talk about a dream, try to make it real. You wake up in the night with a fear so real. You spend your life waiting for a moment that just don't come. Don't waste your time waiting.
Badlands described my life in East Germany, and he was rebelling against the system.
Nearly 2 hours into the 3-hour concert, Springsteen gave a short but inspirational speech that took the crowd by surprise and received a wave of roaring approval from the Sea of East Germans.
The speech was only 37 seconds long, but the meaning was deep and clear.
Es ist schön, in Ostberlin zu sein. Ich möchte euch sagen, ich bin nicht der Führer oder gegen irgendeine Regierung. Ich bin gekommen, Rock'n'Roll zu spielen für euch Ostberliner. In der Hoffnung, dass eines Tages alle Barrieren abgerissen werden.
In his short speech, Bruce wanted to say the word walls, but the concert director knew it would cause a political uproar, so he changed the word from walls to barriers.
We got the message, and it was electrifying, said George Benecke, a 34-year-old farmer who drove halfway across East Germany with a friend that morning to see the concert. Everyone knew exactly what he was talking about, tearing down the wall. It was a nail in the coffin for East Germany. We had never heard anything like that from anyone inside of East Germany. That was the moment some of us have been waiting a lifetime to hear.
His words were a turning point because they gave us hope of what we all wanted. We believed him.
As one reporter wrote, considering that it was delivered inside East Germany, it probably did more to shake the Cold War barrier than all the anti-wall speeches in West Berlin combined.
The East German government was so controlling that its people were not allowed to listen to music that wasn't approved by the government. Ironically, Springsteen was not approved. However, on the day of the concert, the East Germans were singing along to songs that were banned. What might have been the most surprising part of all is that not only were East Germans singing to songs they were not supposed to know, but they were singing to Born in the USA, in a communist country, on national TV. The massive crowd further defied their government by flying American flags. These flags were not sold in East Germany. These flags were handmade and openly defied the powers that be.
We leave behind the Iron Curtain and we dream for freedom and a better life, and that was the voice of Bruce.
November 9th, 1989, the day the world changed. The barrier that Springsteen spoke of came tumbling down. The rebellion of 300,000 fans at a rock and roll concert inspired the fall of the Berlin Wall. Springsteen sang of a reason to believe, and the East Germans took his message to heart with what some would say a hungry heart. In 2012, 23 years after the Berlin Wall fell and 24 years since his first concert in East Berlin, Bruce returned to give another concert. In the end, he sang a song specifically for East Berliners. The song is called When I Leave Berlin. While his 1988 concert didn't single-handedly bring down the wall, it should never be forgotten that the concert was one of the many dominoes, many turning points that did bring down the wall, end the government, and change the world.
And I leave Berlin, I know for certain that I'm a free man when I leave Berlin.